Hello inspectors, just a quick update on some changes I've made to Scribeware that you may notice, and just showing you some additional options. Right now this is called Dunsing 2025 Do Not Use. I will be updating that later today, and it'll just replace the existing Dunsing 2025 right there. That'll be the name of the new template. What pushed this is a couple things. Bill was asking me for a couple updates, and I'll show you those in a minute. And the other thing was, as I was going through our state standards, I was noticing we are not up to speed on a couple of different things. So let me just walk you through. The first and foremost, this has nothing to do with standards. It has to do with something we were talking about today with chimney height. So when I go into the chimney observations, into the chimney portion, you'll see a new comment here that says flue height above crown 2 inches. So I added that, and this illustration was made through ChatGPT, which I thought was pretty cool. So that is one of the updates that we've got in there. Next, let's go into the state standards, and you'll sort of see what they talk about. Let me do a quick pause. So in the plumbing section in particular, and in the appliance section, there are a couple of things. So one of the things that the state standards ask for is for us to inspect and describe in detail all these things. We do that, except it says including fixtures, faucets, piping and drains. I'm comfortable with piping, drains, waste, and vent, but fixtures and faucets we don't have or aren't compliant as far as I'm concerned, or weren't. Now what we will do in the plumbing section, you'll come into here, and in the description you'll see plumbing fixtures description, and you've got right here, and this with the double asterisk, this means this is a required item. So you'll go in there, it will add a comment down here, and you've got a replacement text, and this is where you'll be able to go in and add a whole bunch of different comments. What I've done is I've put the thing that would be our most common, so you can just go in here and click on this, but it's conventional flush toilets, porcelain or china sinks, steel or cast iron tubs, hot and cold controls at sinks, tubs, and showers. I'm comfortable with that. If you're running into, there's a place with a urinal, and there's a place with a bidet, I think, is our last thing, you can add comments down there, and you can see what it has done. So you can also go in here and manually put in things like, if there's, I don't know, some weird little deal in there, you can add, get out of here, hang on, let me do a pause. You can add another quick comment, like there is a, if you wanted to get into description and say there's a brown toilet, you can go there. This is a little weird to stick in there, so what I have landed on is you can cut that and you can put it here, and then when you go to paste it, you can go in there, and it should allow you to add, and it doesn't let you do that way. You'll have to figure it out on your own. I hate to be so indecisive on this. I know that there's another way to do this where you can add comments in here, but that would be an additional way where you can add additional types of fixtures and descriptions. Pause. Here I figured out how you can do this. So if you go into here, I'm going to hit the return, and if I scroll all the way down, you can see it says bidet brown toilet. Now I can go in here and delete the, I can't do that, damn it. Hang on. I think in your copies you can go up here and edit this, so if you wanted to, you could add stuff in here. So if you go into edit, you could type in brown toilet if that were what you wanted to do, and then you can go back down in here, double click on this, the last entry here will be brown toilet, and that should allow you to do it. So there's a way to do that. So sorry if that's a little clunky on how to do. All right, continuing along, appliances. If we go to the kitchen area, let me get rid of this so that it doesn't get saved by mistake. Take the fixtures out. The other thing you could do, actually here's a better workaround on that, is you could go in here and you could type in brown toilet, you could type in nickel plated faucets, if that's what you wanted to do. So there are other ways to do that. When I go to preview this, you can just see real quick, it'll add, go to the plumbing section, and there's your brown toilet, nickel-plated faucet. So it will in fact show up on there. So there's your workaround for how we're going to do that. All right, let's go back into the report in the kitchen portion. The state standards, go back to the state standards, do a quick pause. Okay, as we all know, here we're in the kitchen portion of the Illinois State Standards. It talks here about household appliances are a part of what we're required to inspect. We have had a few questions over the years from people wondering what appliance we inspected and what we didn't inspect. So what I've done is I've added a portion here. Again, this is a double asterisk. It's required. The appliance is not inspected. We're just going to have to trust that everybody will remember how to do these. But this is where you can go in and say we inspected the range, and I added right at the front, I added the ones that you're going to run into the most frequent. So those would be the ones you inspected, and then maybe a built-in coffee maker, standalone freezer. That would be the stuff. And then that shows up when we do a preview. That'll show up as these were the appliances that were inspected and the appliances that were not inspected. Now, you notice these check marks in here. I've also sort of pulled people, and people in general like these check marks. So what in the components of each of these sections, in the heating portion, when we get to components, electric, when we get to components, going forward, we're going to have those items are going to have check marks. Just it stands out a little bit. It draws people's attention to what the items that were inspected. So be aware that that's going to show up on the report. Going onward back into Scribeware, this is the portion that Bill had asked if we could separate out some of the insulation. So when I go into the insulation in roofs, we have attic insulation. This is the type, and then I set it up as a recommend. This is required, attic insulation required. Attic insulation, roof cavity insulation, this is a recommended that you do. This is where you can put the amount. Bill was noticing that when we had these two areas grouped together, we were just simply putting in fiberglass, and that was it. So now you can do fiberglass R12 to R19, and that is that. So that's the change we've done on the insulation. Continuing on in the structural portion, I also made some changes to how were the various areas inspected. So in the attic, it's going to be, this is just in a different location now, but it's going to be the attic was inspected by entering, attic was inspected from entry, not inspected. I do want you to go in ideally and say the percentage of the attic not inspected. About 25 to 50% of the attic was not visible and inspected. Same thing is going to go for the crawl space, where you're going to talk about how you inspected the crawl space, and then the percentage of the area that was not inspected, you'll go in there, and it will tell you that it adds a comment that says a notable portion of the foundation could not be inspected. I'll change this to say crawl space, so that we understand what's going on with that. So that is a change in there. Okay, and then the last portion, going back into components, you'll see that in each of these areas I've gone through and I've just added check marks for all of the components portions. So you've got components, observation, limitations, and that's consistent all the way through our report. So when I go into the electrical components, it's a 60 amp, 120 volt. When we do a preview on this, we'll go through. I'm dressing these up as we speak right now. You can see that there are check marks there. We go to the electric, those have changed into check marks just to make it a little more visible to our clients. So that is it. Carry on. If there are any questions, let me know. Happy to help out and make changes as needed.